जिंदाबाद अपनी MSO जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद
is a very extraordinary. I am so impressed about her presentation, and she showed through her power presentation, and that's why now in present media we can't get proper information about West Bank, Gaza, and Palestine situation. So that's why so communication gap, and both these my friends we latest situation in Gaza. We have chance to go Gaza, I think so near years ago, and that time we saw what type of Gaza, not single thing intact in Gaza, and just today I go through some Wikipedia and Google and some other news also. So this is a very serious, particularly international civil society. Nowadays in America, due to American problem, very good movement going on. I welcome that spirit, but regarding Gaza, regarding Palestine issue, now international community, I think so, forget this issue. So that's why, as a president of Palestine India Solidarity Forum, Indian chapter, so that's why I'm so worried about international community, unconcerned about all these questions. So these two friends giving us up-to-date information about Palestine and West Bank, and particularly day by day occupation is going there. Just go through today's some latest news about drainage, some garbage waste, and so many things in West Bank. This is very serious due to this corona, so-called corona affair. I am worried about, as a medical doctor, that garbage problem, whole Israel now throwing all over Israel's garbage in West Bank and this Palestine part. This is very serious thing for me. Nowadays, all over the world, a corona problem is going on, and in this situation, garbage, sanitation, and other things in Palestine is so serious. So that's why occupation is a very serious problem. But regarding to health, this garbage and waste material, particularly medical waste, they are throwing in all these areas. So this is a very serious thing for me during corona situation. So that's why we should take cognizance of this latest situation. And now, if all friends are agree, we must take some program after this so-called corona problem. And again, we start for Free Palestine and West Bank and Gaza. We should make a program immediately after this problem. This is my main point to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak in this seminar.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. No, I'd just like to add to what Amal and Vida, and our sister Mariam has also joined us from Beirut. So welcome to Mariam also. Essentially, I think what has come from both from our sister Amal and from Lina, that there is no need to speak of a West Bank on a Jordan Valley and a Gaza. We are speaking of all of Palestine here. all of Palestine, the colonization that went on from the latter of the 19th century, post World War I, World War II, and what we witnessed down the last 100 odd years. So that is one part. And the fact that the Israelis have brought it to such a head now, that this two-state solution, 1967 borders, all that doesn't make any more sense. So essentially, there has been a growing consensus in the last 15, 20 years that now it's all about a one-state solution. And I think that we will speak we will carry on later on. The other point being that for some reason, Netanyahu has withdrawn on the annexation for now, which I believe also is a victory, because I believe that was the last straw. And after that, a massive intifada would have broken out in Palestine, on which Mahmoud Abbas would have had no control. So I think Jordan got scared, the Saudis got scared, all the collaborative regimes got scared. America had to actually pull back. The Europeans were quite adamant. So for the first time, we've also seen that the 1st July deadline of the annexation has not yet actually worked out for Netanyahu. Anyway, here I'd like to bring in our friend Shujaat Ali Qadri, who has done a lot of work. I'll ask him to say a few words. Then we'll have Khalid Bhai, Chirag, and the others, Kishore, Jagtap, and all will join us. Shujaat Bhai, आप जरा बात कीजिए.
जी फिरोज भाई, मैं उर्दू और हिंदी में बात करता हूँ ना फिरोज भाई, कुछ लोग अपने हैं और मैं भी कंफर्टेबल हूँ.
ठीक है, मैं ट्रांसलेट करूंगा बाद में. ओके, बोले.
मेरे हिसाब से सब लोग हैं. सबसे पहले मैं आज के इस वेबिनार,
अच्छा बोलते हो अंग्रेजी, बोलिए आप.
नहीं जान दो सुरेश भाई, जान दो.
ठीक है, ओके.
सबसे पहले मैं आज के इस वेबिनार के लिए इंडिया पैलेस्टाइन सॉलिडेरिटी फोरम के चेयरमैन डॉक्टर सुरेश खैनार जी और जनरल सेक्रेटरी फिरोज मीठी बोरवाला साहब का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं. 3 दिन पहले हम लोगों में बात हुई कि 1 हफ्ता पहले करीब हम लोगों में बातचीत हुई कि एनेक्सेशन को लेकर जो रवैया और जो चीजें चल रही हैं, भारतीय मीडिया उन चीजों को यहाँ पर नहीं दिखा रहा है और हम लोगों का भी सोशल मीडिया नेटवर्क उन लोगों से नहीं है जिससे सही खबरें हम लोग देख सकें. इसलिए ये डिसाइड हुआ, हमारे फिरोज भाई ने डिसाइड किया कि हम पैलेस्टाइन के कुछ स्पीकर्स को लेकर और अपने हिंदुस्तानी दोस्तों में ये बातचीत करें कि एनेक्सेशन का क्या प्लान है और इसका क्या रिस्पांस जाना चाहिए ग्लोबल लेवल पे और रीजनल लेवल पर. पिछले कई सालों से हम देखते आ रहे हैं कि जिस हिसाब से चीजें बदली हैं और एक नई तब्दीली मिडिल ईस्ट में आई है और पूरी दुनिया में जब से अथॉरिटेरियन गवर्नमेंट आनी शुरू हुई तब से पैलेस्टाइन का जो कॉज है वो कमजोर हुआ है और बीच में बहुत सारे इश्यूज, खासकर मिडिल ईस्ट के जो मुल्क हैं वो आपस में उलझे हुए हैं. सीरिया को सीरियन क्राइसिस, इजिप्शियन, लीबियन और इस तरीके से जो क्राइसिस हैं, उन क्राइसिस की वजह से भी पैलेस्टीनियन कॉज को नुकसान हुआ है. लेकिन
सुजात, just wait, let me खाली थोड़ा अपडेट कर दो, नहीं तो अमाल और लीना पार्ट नहीं हो पाएंगे ना मरियम. Essentially, our friends from Palestine, I'll just translate what Shujaat is saying. He has said 2 important points. One is the fact that ever since the annexation debate came on, some of us got together and decided, yes, we need a discussion with our Palestinian friends. So we planned out this webinar. The second thing is saying that in the course of the last decade and more, I think ever since 2011 actually, the Palestinian cause has weakened because of the internecine warfare within the Arab and the Muslim countries in Middle East, West Asia, North Africa, from Libya to Syria. So that has also led to the weakening of the cause of Palestine at the regional and the global level. Shujaat bhai, aap aage badho.
Right. Actually, can I jump in here?
Okay.
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 If we go back, during the 80s, 90s, up until now, there were phases of this Zionist project, which is, of course, backed up and sponsored by the US/EU, European Union. These phases were introduced in 1982, if we remember, when they invaded Lebanon and they kicked the Palestinian, the PLO and the Palestinian fighters out of Lebanon. They were scattered all over the world. This was one part of this project. The Iraqi-Iranian war, which was incited by the US. Iraq was driven into this war between the two people, which harmed both countries. Later on, we came to the Intifada and the Oslo Agreement. The Oslo Agreement, actually, as we see it, as we explain, is part of what they call, during the last 10 years, the Arab Spring between brackets. We think that the Oslo was part of what went on later on in the Arab world. Then, remember Eastern Europe? Remember Clinton's, what he did to Eastern Europe? He divided, he actually split the former Soviet Union and divided Eastern Europe. Now they are puppets and puppet entities in Europe who are part of what they call the European Union. Then the invasion of Iraq in 2003. All this, which led actually later on in 2011 to the Balkanization, what we call the Balkanization of the Arab world, splitting the Arab world into entities based on sectarianism, based on religious sectarianism. Remember, in 1916, Sykes-Picot Agreement divided the Arab world into entities based on geography. Now, in 2011, they wanted to do the same thing, dividing what was divided a century ago into smaller entities based on sectarianism. In the Muslim religion, there are different sects. The major two sects are the Shiites and the Muslims. Imagine if they divide the areas surrounding occupied Palestine. Imagine if they divided based on sectarianism. Iraq will be 4 states. Syria will be again 4 states. Lebanon, which is smaller than Palestine. Palestine actually is 27,000 kilometers, the size of Palestine. Lebanon is still smaller than Palestine. They want to divide Lebanon into 3 sects, 3 major areas: Christians, Muslim Sunni, Muslim Shia. In Egypt, they want to play the same role with the Coptis and the Sunnis and the Nuba people to the south. So everywhere during in these Arab countries, from Libya, which became a destroyed state and busy with its internal fights, the Arab Gulf states have taken a major role in this terror war against the Arab countries. They played a very dirty role in Syria, in Iraq, in Libya, in dividing Sudan into north and south. So Balkanization of the Arab world have created this chaos, which affected us as Palestinians to a great extent. Actually, this war in Syria and Lebanon affected our Palestinian refugees. In Syria, Palestinian refugees were living in a very human conditions, a very advanced conditions, even better than the refugee camps in the occupied territories. What happened in Syria? The Palestinians were targeted in Yarmouk refugee camps and in other refugee camps. Another Nakba for the Palestinians happened in 2012 up to 2016. Exodus, Palestinians went out in tens of thousands, and now they are scattered again all over the world. Some of them went to Lebanon, which is under internal conflict, as you may know, the Israelis from the south, from occupied Palestine in the south, raiding Lebanon every day.